which kind of set up some kind of a, and also the theories, international trade theories, the absolute advantage theory, the comparative cost advantage, the Porter's diamond, to name a few. Right? So today we'll have a very introductory discussion on one of the most important functional areas of business, that is human resource management. Right. The PowerPoint which I'll be discussing or sharing with you is available on the department's website. You can download it from there. So let me just ask you a basic question, because all of you have already completed one compulsory paper in human resource management. So just try to give me an idea what exactly is your orientation or your understanding of human resource management. Yes.
The effective utilization of the employee to achieve goals, the
Okay.
objectives of the organization.
Okay. Any other idea? Very good. Effective utilization of the manpower. What else? This is just one part of human resource management. Or maybe you can say one of the sub objectives of human resource management. What else?
Sir, it is the process of recruiting, selecting, training,
Yes.
and appraisal of employee.
Very
Sir, to
good.
mediate any dispute between the employees and the organization.
Very good. Very good. So conflict resolution, selection of manpower which is needed, or as you have rightly said, recruitment, selection, and training. That's very, very, yes. Yes, what else? You're not audible. What else? Any other idea, any other viewpoint you want to, you know, contribute to our discussion? Any other definition that you want to contribute about human resource management? What do you understand by human resource management? Or what makes human resource management a very, very, important area, a strategic area, in fact? There used to be a
Sir, to
time.
reduce employee turnover.
Very good, very good. Employee retention and to reduce employee turnover. Very important. और क्या चीज है? ह्यूमन रिसोर्स मैनेजमेंट इतना इंपॉर्टेंट क्यों है? Yes. So all of you have, given some ideas about human resource management. We all understand that there were times when human resource management was not even considered as a separate functional area. But now there is a realization that human resource are the most valuable assets of any organization. Machines, computers, softwares, processes, they are all imitable, they can be copied, but human resources are very, very, unique. They are, they have got skills, they have got ideas, and the way they can contribute towards the development of an organization, the way they can contribute towards the growth of an organization is something unique. And that is why you need to have a separate department with a focus on manpower management or human resource management. And then within that, there are different functions, as rightly said: recruitment, selection, training, transfers, promotions, performance appraisal, exit interviews for those people who are leaving. There are also strategies to retain people, because if a company has a high employee turnover rate, it also, is an indication that perhaps the organization is unable to keep its people happy. People go there, work there for some time, and leave for better opportunities. Organizations should be such. Yes. You want to say something? Organizations should be such which can, command loyalty among its manpower. They should be considered as the most sought after or the most coveted, or employers. So companies have different strategies, they have different types of compensation structure, right? Salaries, fringe benefits, and so many things in order to lure and retain the right kind of manpower. And it is a very, very, tricky situation. If you compare human resources with machines, suppose you have an assembly line and one of the machines is not working, so you can replace it immediately. Maybe you have another, machine in the stores. But if all of a sudden some of your people leave the job, this creates a void. It is not easy to find a suitable replacement. And that is why the HR managers, they have to do manpower planning. They have to keep identifying that what will be the requirement for the manpower in the future. What is the current status? What are the different sources from where they are going to, invite suitable manpower? What are the chances that some of the people are going to leave the organization? So a lot of things happened, and then many things happened suddenly, all of a sudden. Say, for example, quoting the recent case of the pandemic, many people from the teaching staff, they passed away during the pandemic. They were in the active service of the university. So finding a suitable replacement for them is not easy. Till now, whatever I'm talking to you about the HR management is from a very, very general perspective. It can happen in almost all kind of organizations. So for manpower, it is difficult to have inventories, right? You just cannot have inventories. You can't keep some of the people on hold for the time being because nobody is ready to be put on hold. Excuse me. Issues related to training, issues related to the job placement, matching the job description with the skills of the human resources or the people who have been recruited. For freshers, we always understand that the most common source of recruitment and selection is the campus. Most of the companies, they follow this easy route, visiting the campuses of the engineering colleges, business schools. But when it comes to hiring middle level managers or top level executives, then it is definitely a very, very difficult situation, right? Similarly, the compensation and the salary. What should be the different components of the salary in addition to the money that you are paying? What other facilities, what other perks and fringe benefits need to be offered to you know the employees? Then there are issues related to promotions. Should the promotion be time bound? Should there be some kind of exam or interviews? What about the different areas of performance appraisal? So there is a big list of decisions which need to be made or which need to be managed actually in case of human resource management. Now, when it comes to the international human resource management, how does the play field change? This is my question before you. How international human resource management is different from your home country or domestic human resource management? Yes.
Sir, there are different rules that need to be followed in regards to compensation and dispute mediation.
Very good, Saqib.
Cultural differences are the wider, like
Yes,
the cultural differences are more wider, like in terms
yes,
of
very, very true. So on one point uh, is that you have different laws which need to be understood and implemented. Differences in culture, the culture of the people need to be, understood. And in some cases, you can make some adaptations. While if you cannot adhere or you cannot, adapt yourselves, then at best, don't criticize. Do not become a critic of their culture, right? Everybody has, people have their own cultures and they have a strong affiliation to it. So you cannot expect them to drastically change themselves. A better way is that you, as an outsider, try to, understand their culture and, try to, as far as your job is concerned, as far as your interactions with the people of different culture is concerned. So just try to, uh, learn it, some of the basic things, likes and dislikes. Now, let me give you a very simple example of culture and its, you know, relationship or its influence on the color appreciation, right? How do people interpret different colors? A very simple example. If we, you know, just compare the Indian culture or the culture of the Indian subcontinent, the generally the color of the bridal suit is anybody's guess. Yes, what is the color generally in case of India for a bridal wear?
red.
Yes, most commonly, that is the most commonly chosen color is red. And the color of the widow's dress is white. Generally, it is expected that a woman who loses her husband, she will be, putting on a very, very austere style of or sense of dressing, having a very, very, an approach of very simple. And that's why white color is generally preferred. If you compare it with the European culture, the dress color for the bride is white. She wears a white gown on her wedding day. The same is applicable in the Arab culture. The Arab bride wears the white gown for her wedding day. So culture is a very, very, you know, complex thing to understand. Getting into its deeper associations is really, difficult. And that is why the best strategy is to understand, and appreciate the culture of other people, have a respect for it. And a big no is that please do not criticize, right? So when it comes to human resource management, the play field becomes much more wider, much more challenging. You are meeting people from different countries, from different cultural backgrounds. They have different levels of education. They have different body language. Their sense of color is different. Their sense of food is different. So, when you are managing the manpower internationally, one has to understand not only the legal aspect, right? This is in fact easier. Once you know the labor laws of that country, you can follow them. What is acceptable, what is not acceptable. But dealing with the people who are working for you or with whom you are working is definitely a difficult job. Now let me recount something from my own experience. When I was working in Oman in our university, this was the Dhofar University in Salalah. So we had people in our own. Please mute your mic. So in our department for business administration, we had people from India, from Pakistan, from Syria, from Jordan, from Sudan, from Malaysia, from Tunisia, from Oman, yes, obviously, the people of the country. And in other departments, there were people from, England, there were people from USA, and many other nationalities. There were people from Bangladesh as well. So there was a big, a huge cultural mix. Managing people coming from different cultures, from different economic backgrounds, and not just culture I'm talking about. Then comes another important thing: the religion. There were people who were Muslims, the majority. There were Christians. There were Hindus. So people from different religious background, their different, requirements. So all these things make it, the job of the top managers really difficult. Something which works with the Indians, it does not work with the Pakistanis. Something which works with both Indians and Pakistanis does not work with the Syrians. So very often there used to happen, over the period of 5 years, I have seen good times and bad times, conflicts, instance of friendship also, everything, So it really becomes very, very difficult to manage people from different cultural backgrounds, because people have their different, style of working or the way of working. Some people are very, very what you call as formal, very, very formal. Some people are very casual, they're not so formal. Right? So, depending upon their cultural affiliations, depending upon, some, it is often said that the people from Egypt, they are very, very, shrewd, very astute. So, working with such people with a bit of caution. So, that's how it is. So, the different areas of human resource management, or different decision areas of human resource management, they become somewhat more challenging. So, with this small background, we will have a look at the presentation. Some of the slides that we'll be able to cover in today's lecture. These are the references which are already given. I would suggest, if some of you want to buy a book, then there's a book by Rakesh Mohan Joshi, Professor Rakesh Mohan Joshi of Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. It is a very, very, it is a collector's item. It's a very good book. So what we see here, it is a conceptual diagram of international business and human resource management. Some of the forces which are feeding into the importance of human resource management. One is, we have already talked about, the foreign human resources. Now your choice set is much more wider. You are no longer confined, you are no longer limited to the, to recruiting and selecting people only from your home country, but you have a choice to pick up people from other countries, pick up the best talent to serve your organization. But at the same time, there are challenges, there would be issues, and this is where lies the competence of the human resource managers. Similarly, you have new organizations which are coming into existence by mergers and acquisition. Now, two different organizations which are coming together, and it's not just like a merger of two organizations, it is a merger of cultures actually. People who have been working in one organization, they have been used to the cultural climate of that company, while the other counterpart, which is merging with a maybe foreign organization, so they have a different culture. So this also creates issues when the two organizations are coming together and becoming one. Competition at the global level, and as we have been talking about, the opportunities in the international markets. So all these factors are rendering more importance to the international human resource management. On one hand, you have a wider choice, but that choice comes with a lot of challenges, which we will try to discuss subsequently. The factors we have, in fact, already talked about two of them. One is culture, it's a major influence on the international human resource management. Then political and legal system, the law of the land, what are the different, say, labor laws which have to be considered in managing the affairs of an organization, whether they are logical or not. But since you have chosen to work in a particular country, so you have to abide by that. Then the different economic systems, different levels of economy, what is the economic structure, whether it is a an industrialized economy, whether it is an agrarian economy, whether it is a service based economy. Like in the Middle Eastern countries, the economy is largely fed by its the oil resources. So the economic system is tied, its fortunes are tied to the oil prices. Higher oil prices means more money and vice versa. But gradually, they are also realizing that oil is not forever. And that's why now they are focusing on the service sector like tourism. Then education, the level of education in different countries. Some of the countries have a very, very, high level of educational standards that may be primarily in the European countries or in the Asian countries like India and Singapore, countries like Singapore, Malaysia, like this. So, depending upon the level of education, the quality of graduates or the workforce which is required, right? One has to make the right decision. And especially when we talk about the international human resource management in the international organizations, a very, very basic question is whether to hire locally or whether to import people, whether to hire the expats. That is a very, very important question. Sometimes there are pressures from the law of the land. They want that a certain minimum, say 25% of the workforce in each organization should be the local people with a minimum fixed salary. So, in such a situation, the organizations are bound to follow the law, the labor law, which is stating such things. At the same time, hiring people from abroad is also not easy because it is time consuming. Either you send a delegation to a particular country, invite applications, and after shortlisting or after screening the applications, there's a delegation, and maybe you hire some consultants, and then you hold interviews in that particular country. Sometimes, and now you can have telephonic interviews using the different platforms, but then obviously its reliability is doubtful. And then once you have finalized the list of the people whom you want to, employ in your organization, all that entire list with their documents, it will be, sent to the Ministry of Higher Education or the concerned ministry, from where it will be verified. And only when it is verified and finalized, then you will get it, the visa for them. And then again, it will take a couple of more, maybe a week or two or even a month before the people are able to join. So it is a long process. And at the same time, sometimes it happens that some people who have been issued visa, they have been sent, tickets and everything. And on the last moment, they decline the offer. They say that they don't want to come. So such rude shocks are, very much a reality. So before we wind up today's discussion, very quickly, we'll just run through this. Domestic HRM is done at the national level, and IHRM is at the international level, right? Again, this we have already talked about. The domestic HRM is, related to managing people belonging to one nation, to your home country, while in IHRM you have people from many countries, home country, host country, third country employees. So basic thing is that IHRM is very complicated, and it is affected heavily by external factors such as culture and institutional factors, right? So next time when we meet, let me just ask you one simple question. I'll send that question to you on your WhatsApp group, and let me see your response. Is it okay if I engage your class at 8 a.m. tomorrow? Is it okay? Early morning.